All right, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get airborne. Very excited. Got my techies finishing some stuff up in the background here, so I'll get rid of those Skypes. Welcome aboard, man. You actually are the smart people. We still have, I think we have about 600 people registered for this event. And as I told you in my email, the Go to Training webinar room only holds 200. So if you got here early, you were smart. If not, and you're watching me on the replay, not saying you're not smart. You might have had to work after the close, pick up the kids from school. I get it. But hopefully you're watching on the replay here. And whoever asked, is this recorded? Everything's recorded here at Top Gun Options. And if you don't know what Top Gun Options is, you're going to find out right now. First of all, who the hell's talking? Actually, let me ask you, let me open the chat box here. This is why I wanted to do this and go to training and ask how many of you are new to Top Gun Options? You have no idea who I am or what we do, or relatively new, like, hey, this is my first or second one of these. So type that in chat box, new, because I want to see how much I have to cover of our background and all that type of stuff. So go ahead and type that in there and let me know as I start taking a look at more people coming in the room here. New. Welcome, Chester. Oh, okay, Fish, yeah. Roger that, okay. Who else? Who else is new as we get airborne? As you come in here and you're new, let us know where you're from too, because I have some of my current members in the room here, and we want to see where you're from. So, all right, I'll minimize that because it looks like people are pouring in the room here, and I don't want to drop anchor since you guys showed up on time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and yeah, that's my not my God-given name, right? My parents did love me. I earned that call sign flying the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years. I graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, also known as Top Gun, and I also flew 44 combat sorties over southern Iraq. Went essentially from the cockpit to the trading pit, and went to Chicago. Anybody here from Chicago? Home of the Super Bowl. Here we go with the Super Bowl stuff. No offense to the people of Chicago, but Chicago wasn't for me. But I ran a $2.5 billion, essentially ran a $2.5 billion equity volatility vol-arb firm up there in the Chicago Board of Trade. And then I was also the founder and CEO of the Options News Network. I went from essentially one user, me, to about 80,000 traders and investors of all experience levels in about a year. What did I do on ONN TV? We were essentially the CNBC for equity options. We went on the floor of the CBOT, and we found that unusual options activity. We interviewed traders. We gave you a behind-the-scenes look at what was going on in the options trading pits, and I had an absolute blast. But like I said, Chicago winters are better left for people other than moi, and came down here to beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It was beautiful all day. Literally, after I got done my trading for the day, went out for a nice run on the beach, and now it's like pitch black outside. So I'm not sitting here in the dark. Looks like a hurricane's about to hit. Not Hurricane Matthew, already blew through in the fall. So let's get airborne, because I want to focus a lot today on the Trump rally. Are we going to fade it? Are we going to buy it? And obviously the answer is going to be both of those things. We're going to buy and fade it, and we're going to talk about some of the trades we've done recently. More importantly, the trades I'm going to put on going forward. First, though, to get your attention, because a lot of people who are sitting here like, all right, Wiz, well, I'm new. Tell me something about yourself. Well, here's a look at some of our portfolios from last year, 2016. The primary live trade brief returned about 125% return on risk. There were losses in that portfolio. I'll scroll down when I show you that portfolio live, because when I squeeze it onto one slide, it looks kind of like an eye chart. So there's red down there, but obviously, as you can tell, there's going to be a hell of a lot more green than red. They're based on $100,000 model portfolios. Why 100 grand? Why not? Some people trade with 10 grand. Some people at TGO have a lot of zeros after that, and some people are right down the middle. So when I get to the trades that I'm going to look at this afternoon, if Wiz is trading, I don't like talking in third person. If I'm trading 3 contracts or 15 or whatever, and you're like, wait, that's way too much risk for me, then you don't trade as many contracts, okay? Or if you're like, man, that ain't even close to the risk I want to take, I'm trading 30 contracts. So it's all about the training here at Top Gun Options. The weekly options model portfolio and the urgent alert returned about 100%, 106% return on risk. And the next slide is actually a little bit of an embarrassment for me. It's my worst performing portfolio from last year, our retirement portfolio. We call it accelerated retirement, and we only had 101% return on risk, about $1. About 100 grand. These portfolios started with that 100 grand model portfolio. Okay, so you're not going to meet Doug Robertson, but one of the services you're going to get access to when you register and become a member at the end of it, Doug Robertson is our resident egghead, not because of the picture there, maybe a little bit. He's our advanced instructor, okay? I'm going to take care of the trading today, but when you become a member, he's our vol arb trader. He's a quant. Ones and zeros, spreadsheets, implied versus historical, all that type of great stuff. And he was working down the street from me in Chicago, swinging about $500 million a day in trades in his book, Director of European Trading. And he's got kind of a smart guy like me, except he comes from the Army. I'm a Navy guy, and I can't believe Army beat Navy this year. That kind of sucks. But he runs a private fund down here in Florida as well. He moved down to Florida, so you can see the military theme of do our time in a cold place like Chicago, come warm. So you're not going to meet Doug today, but you're going to get access to some of his portfolios. Okay, let me close these Skypes here. I want you to now. I know if some of you are looking at my my smiling face here, there's a little camera on the top of the viewing screen for this like pyramid here, this little Mason-looking pyramid. What I want you to do is various times. You don't have to be scribbling or taking a lot of notes. Go ahead and take a screenshot. You're going to want to take a screenshot a couple times today of some good stuff that's going on. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. The Top Gun Options methodology ain't rocket surgery, folks. And thank God the Navy allowed me to copy and paste some of this stuff. But it works. Ever since the first caveman, saw another caveman's cave and said, you know what, that's pretty cool, and picked up a rock and went and hit him in the head with it and took it over. This methodology has worked because, folks, when you think about it, at the end of the day, trading is a form of combat. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and I want to be on the right side of that trade. Okay, so here's our methodology. Today I'm going to give you a strategic brief because many of you in here, besides my members that are popping in here to say hi, are the average retail trader. And that's not a pejorative term. You're very tactical. You don't know what you're doing for lunch tomorrow, let alone what you want to trade out to January of 2019. You watch Comedy Central and see some guy with a nice suit and good looking hair, and he's talking about Tesla, and I'd sell my own mom for Tesla, which he probably did. So you and your bunny slippers and your cup of coffee go, hey, that looks pretty good, and then you do it, and a week later you're broke. That's because you didn't do what we do here at TGO, which is take a top-down approach. I'm going to give you, in all of your live trade briefs, a strategic brief. Here's what's going around around the globe. Just pretend you're sitting in your chair with your cigar as an admiral or a general, and I'm giving you an intel brief. Here's what's going on in China. Here's what's going on with the potential trade war with China. Here's what's going on with 3 Chinese warships kind of doing donuts around some of the islands that General Mattis said we defend if China attacked them, and Japan says they own them. You need to know this stuff. What's going on in Europe? Did Mario Draghi have anything to say? What's going on with the Brexit? Greece and the Greek debt issue is starting to pop up a little bit. Should we be concerned? What's going on with our new best friend, Putin? You have to know all of these things because sometimes you ever wake up and the futures are down at very, very red because something happened overseas in Russia or this or that. I know about most of these events. I still have one of my buddies who, if I still had drunk pictures of him, he would have never made general. I just got a text today that he made general. Still have a lot of contacts in the Pentagon, in DC, so I'm going to give you a great strategic brief. Then we're going to peel back the onion and get operational. What's going on here in the United States? What did Janet Yellen have to say last week in the Fed meeting? What are earnings looking like? How did core durable goods do today? What's the housing picture look like? Et cetera, et cetera. What were the jobs last week? We're going to get operational. So strategic, win the war in Iraq. Operational, take this town. Tactical, hold this bridge for the next hour. Trade. Okay, so many of you don't do what you're going to learn here at TGO, and this is our 7th year in business, folks. A lot of these, I know a lot of you do a lot of wandering around this financial training desert, and you will find a home here. I guarantee you, because trading is a form of combat, and I don't say that lightly. I've buried 11 of the finest men this country's ever seen, and it hurts. So I don't say that lightly. I say that to prove the point that somebody's going to win on a trade and somebody's not. What side do you want to be on? Do you want to be that flaming Libyan MiG, or do you want to be the dude that shot it down? Basically, looking at a little F-18 in the top right of the slide, you know where TGO is going to be. Write this acronym down because we're going to go into my trading screen. I hate PowerPoint slides, but I got to ripple through these to orient you guys into what we're doing at TGO. I'm not a PowerPoint guy. You'll rarely see these. The only time you'll really see PowerPoints out of me is when I give you a squadron brief like today. Once you're in the door, it's all screens and trading and stuff. Write this down. To fear 2017. We ain't fearing it. This same acronym I used in 2016, I did a lot of work over the holidays and put a 7 after it, right? Delete the 6, 7. Let's ripple through it. And I am going to do a little bit of a victory lap because this was hanging my reputation here. Top Gun Options, Edward Matthew Buckley, poor, South Jersey Irish Catholic kid, one of 6, who somehow stumbled into the Navy, got lucky enough to fly fighters and go to TGO, then go to Wall Street and run a big firm. I went out on a limb and I said, folks, Trump is going to win. How did I know that? One of the things I didn't brief you on, one of the slides is hidden because I want to get to trading. I travel around the country, actually travel around the world as a motivational speaker too. I do keynotes for the Fortune 1 all the way down to, the largest auto dealer in Florida. I was up in Jacksonville last week speaking to all their sales managers. So I knew. Literally the heartbeat of America. I did 10 events throughout the United States last year for a meat processing firm called JBS. It's a Brazilian company actually, but I saw America, and at the cocktail parties afterwards or the receptions, hey, great speech whiz, people would come up to me and they'd look to their left and look to their right and go, I'm voting for Trump. Like they were scared that somebody was going to hit them in the head with a shovel. I'm like, oh, me too. You heard me up on stage. So I put it out there. Jeffrey Gundlach from Double Line Capital, swinging a lot more capital than the Whiz Fighter, $95 billion hedge fund, and a handful of other guys predicted the Trump victory. Not only did I predict that he was going to win the entire time in the fall, I remember a couple of my members, like October, November, September, like, hey, Whiz, you okay, man? Your demeanor's kind of changed, and it bums me out that came across, but I was very, very frustrated because I have to put up with that in the background. And people were listening to it and believing it. The crap about the polls and she's winning it, running away, and don't even worry about voting. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to lose. And that is it. Anybody remember Citigroup and even Goldman Sachs? Citi, the day before the election, said Clinton wins, run away from it. But God forbids, out of the blue, Trump wins, the market goes down 5%. I remember shooting a video or whatever it was. I said, they're wrong. He's going to win and it's going to rally. And it wasn't the partisan in me because I can't stand some of the stuff the guy's doing right now. We'll talk about that over the beer. It was about the economics and the trading. Look at this JP Morgan trade. We closed in our accelerated retirement portfolio. I'm going to show you our Goldman Sachs trades that I recommended September, October, November, and how our members did. We closed this trade for an average of $2,300 a month, 35 grand in 15 months. I nailed the Brexit too. I didn't nail them leaving. I'm like, I'm a 50 Delta. I don't care. I think they're probably going to stay because they're worried. And Obama went over there and put his finger in his chest and said, hey, you guys don't stay. I don't know if I have enough time to hang out and give you a trade deal. How rude. They left. So I technically got the call wrong, but we made about 20 grand. You know how we did? On trading volatility. And we did the same thing in the election. When something is uncertain, folks, welcome. If you've always wanted to trade options or trade volatility, you found a home. So I'll be the first to admit I got the Brexit wrong, but I got it right to the tune of 20 grand. Why? Because of uncertainty. So we nailed that. And I'll show you my members' returns from the Goldman Sachs trade since the election. The O into fear is oil. Everybody hop in your time machine and go back to last January and February. Holy holy oil Batman, oil below 30, 29, is it going to go to zero? Oil, when it wants to, can move around the markets. Remember this? You have to. Last December and January, your 401k probably became a 201k. It was almost like a mini financial crisis, wasn't it? So we won't talk about oil today, but know that's part of my acronym, and know when you become a member, we're going to trade in oil. The F into fear is the Fed. I've been beating, like Khrushchev, my shoe on the table for the past 6 months to a year to get long the financials. Why? Here's a wisdom you need to write down. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. Okay, Wiz, then why'd you? Except for financials. Folks, here's my Starbucks. These financials, and I'm boycotting Starbucks, so crap. Pretend that this is a jack in the box. The financials have been squeezed with low interest rates, Dodd-Frank, it's Frank and Dodd. And all these, the financial regulations, low interest rates, high corporate taxes. With the election of Donald Trump, boing, Goldman Sachs is up like 40% since the election, and it's going to go higher. I'll show you the Goldman Sachs trade I finally got filled on in December, compared to when my members got filled when I first recommended Goldman Sachs. We're going to talk about the Fed. She'll be lucky to get 2 or 3 rate increases this year. The reason I bring up the Fed is you have got to be long financials. And if you're sitting there going, dude, they've had a massive run since the election, you're right, and they have more to go. Here it is. Here's my kind of Olympic take on the financials. Goldman Sachs is the gold medal winner, not because of the name, because it's the Death Star. We have a Goldman Sachs put under our trades I'm going to show you in a second. Why? Steve Mnuchin, and I have to disclose these two things, Steve Mnuchin and Jeffrey Kahn, I've had dinner with. I'm the underachiever in my family, by the way, folks. My sister runs Dune Capital in New York and was partners with these guys. She was partners with the current Treasury Secretary. Pretty cool. So I have to disclose that. But Goldman Sachs is the Death Star, and there is 4 Goldman Sachs former heavies in the administration. Do you think Goldman Sachs is going to zero, or it might get airborne a little bit more? The answer is duh. My silver medalist in financials is JP Morgan. And I just showed you a JP Morgan trade that we closed for $35,000 gain in 15 months. Unlimited risk. I think the risk was about $5 or $6 grand in that trade. Not a lot of risk, folks. And finally, Morgan Stanley, the bronze. I don't have a current Morgan Stanley position. But take a look at this. Kind of a busy slide, but I want you to look at the left. This is from Tuesday morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have to stop here, because if you're new to TGO and you have no idea who this guy is who's drinking way too much coffee and Red Bull after the market close, you're right. So I asked, all right, all of my members who got in my Goldman Sachs trades over the past couple months, give me a status update. Mike, 5 that I put on, I'm up 9 grand, up 25% since October. Great. Harry, I booked $60,000 on 20 Goldman Sachs leaps over 3 months. Thanks, Wiz. Harry said he's sending me a nice Opus 1, or I think a Camus. Al, Goldman Sachs up 8 grand on 1 contract. So if you're sitting here going, all right, Wiz, that dude's throwing around 5 contracts, 20. Al, 1 contract, 8 grand since October. Mike, Goldman Sachs, he has 64 grand on 10 contracts. Hold on a second. I said, wait a minute, Mike. I thought you were a triple digit guy. Go down to here. Mike here. 5 contracts. He was up 130. Let me get my little searchlight here. And I promise we're going to get to trading, because I hate beating my chest like this, but people always want to go, is this for real type of stuff? And I get it. So you can see, actually, all I can see is me, and that's a pretty ugly dude. So let me get out of the way here. Let me close myself. I'm not going to use that spotlight, guys. Just normal pen here. See down here? Mike said, hey, the peak was 135 grand. Wiz, I was up 135 grand on 20 contracts. He used a Wizism right here. Read that. Pigs get slaughtered, so I harvested half in early January. Folks, 125 grand. Diane, 5 contracts since September, 36 grand. So Chuck, Weekly option. I've had 20 trades, made 21 grand, and averaging 1,100 bucks since he joined in October. So Scott, 80, 200 bucks, Facebook, SPX, and Amazon. These are all recent I've grabbed from my live trade brief. John, 15 grand. Thanks for your mentoring in the first month. So these aren't current. Okay, great. Now this guy just turned into a snake oil salesman. They're not current because I took these on Tuesday. My Goldman Sachs trade is up 2 grand since Tuesday. So these numbers are wrong. They're actually higher. And for those of you who don't like politics in trading, I'm going to warn you right now. I trade my politics. I'm more of a libertarian. Put me on a deserted island or give me a ranch in Montana with my AR-15 type of guy. I'm going to rip Trump a new one as much as I did Obama. But look at David. David, dude, I hate your politics, but love the way you print money. Thanks for your service. Best money I've spent so far in my trading career. Because sometimes halfway through these getting to know you webinars, people are like, I'm out. You partisan hack. I'm like, well, that's too bad because my politics make money. Just don't listen to me. Here's why I'm embarrassed. All of those members I just showed you got in September, October, or November. I didn't get filled on any of those recommendations. You know why? Like an idiot. And hear my pronouns? I, not we, you, us, I kept trying to nickel and dime getting that fill. I'm like, I'm not going to pay full price for that muffler, for that Goldman Sachs trade. No, I'm not going to hit I know market makers. I sat there. Finally, in December, I'm like, fine. Here I am 2 months later. I'm up 8,800 bucks. I took this at the close, this screenshot at the close. So I'm embarrassed, to be honest with you. Compared to my members, I'm up 8,800 bucks in 2 months. I'm averaging $4,000 a month. Let's go. The E into fear is Europe. The Brexit, not an issue. We do have to keep an eye on Mario Draghi and his quantitative easing, because that could ripple across back here across the pond, okay? The other E into fear is earnings. We've actually kind of had a not a bad earnings period, folks. So it feels like the engines are getting going. We've had 5 to 6 previous earning periods where it's been like, your typical Wall Street. If you can't hit the ball over the net, what do? You lower the net. So earnings, Asia. Man, we'll take a look at maybe if we have time at trade on FXI. Write this down, FXI. It's the iShares China. They're blue cap, they're Dow ETF type of thing. When Trump and China started trading tweets and China pulled up to one of our U.S. naval ships and took our underwater drone and said, yeah, thanks. I said, get out of FXI. Got a good screenshot of a member who said, Wiz, good call getting out of FXI, took my 4,900 bucks. And then the smoke kind of cleared. Trump started turning his machine gun on everybody else, and we got back into FXI. So you have to be long-term bullish on China, folks. You got to know that Trump's a negotiator. He's going to come in blasting both barrels on this side of the end zone, and China's doing the same thing. The Chinese foreign minister, do I still have this quote up? This is creeping me out, folks. If you didn't see this, here's the exact quote from the Chinese foreign minister. I have a suggestion for my American friends. Brush up on the history of World War II. And I know many of you didn't spend the time to watch the confirmation hearing of our Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. Kind of a dork, I did. Rex Tillerson, I'm not going to, let me paraphrase. He said, yeah, the island building that they did, taking a bunch of dirt from China, taking it out to an atoll in the middle of the Pacific and building an island and putting a runway on it ain't China. They won't have access to those islands, and that won't stand. Whoa. So I'm keeping a close eye on my China trade. So no, as part of to fear Asia, it's got to be on your radar, man. So we're a tweet, we're a fighter jet or a boat bump in the night in the South China Sea, something bad could happen. Or something good can happen, like the love affair he's having with this guy, maybe he has with China. Now we're about 5 minutes away from trading screen and talking about the market. I got to finish to fear with Russia. I like to tell my members that I wear 2 suits at Top Gun Options. I'm wearing my short sleeve tonight just to make fun of the people in the Northeast getting buried in snow. My first suit is a flight suit. I'm an American. Like I said, I buried 44 of my buddies. I have a strike flight air medal on the wall from the president. Being long Russia makes my skin crawl. Now, cut. Let's go to the movie Wall Street. I'll run in the other room. I don't have this, but I'm joking. And let me grab my $6,000 Armani and sit down and go, I don't care. I'm going to get long Russia. I'm long the RSX, and it's printing money. One of the two best trades last year, according to CNBC, was Brazil and Russia. Guess which? We had the EWZ, the Brazil ETF, and we had the RSX on. So know that every once in a while, if you're sitting there, if you're kind of dyed in the wool like I am, going, are you kidding me? He's going to get long Russia. The guy's a killer. Our president even couldn't say he was a killer in the Super Bowl interview. Pissed off at Trump about that. He shot down a civilian airliner, Trump. Okay, see, to all my Obama fans out there who probably already left, I will yell at the guy. Okay, let's get airborne. In your materials section over here on the right, did everybody download that one-page PDF, that trade plan? Give me a vertical head nod or a chat box, yes, if you got that. We good? Good. Thank you, Clayton. Okay. Everybody got the trade plan. It's down under where it says materials. Okay. There's my air medal right in the back there over my, what's that, left shoulder. And there, wait, let me shuck this way. You can see my little F-18 model. Okay. So I'm going to ripple through this trade plan. As I've traveled around the country speaking to retail traders such as yourself, I always hear repeatedly, like, Wiz, I need a trade plan. You know, this guy steps on stage, I listen to him, you have to be disciplined, have to have a trade plan. Thank you, good night, try the veal. And they don't give you one. I just gave you one. I'm going to run through my 7-step trade plan, and we're going to put on a trade today, okay? Let me ripple through it real quick just to give you an executive summary. The first thing you have to determine, folks, is what's your strategic mindset? What the hell does that mean, Wiz? What are you right now? I'm a little tired. No. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you think the market's going to be volatile? Or are you neutral? Hey, we're just going to chop sideways. Those are the 4 strategic mindsets. You can also have variations of those. You ready for mine? Right now, I am cautiously bullish. Now, if that sounds like a Clintonism, you're probably right. But I'm bullish, but I'm a little worried. And the cautiously part means I'm going to have hedges in my portfolio that act as bilge pumps. The USS Top Gun Options takes a torpedo. The bilge pumps are going to turn on, and we're going to make some money. We're not going to sink, and we're going to keep sailing. After you determine your strategic mindset, this is what I am, now you identify your target. This is what I'm going to trade. Apple, Facebook. I think we're going to take a look at the S&P 500 today because I put this trade on and sent it out to my traders. So I'm going to share it with you. Step 3 is commit criteria. And if you've been clubbing in the Bahamas for the last 27 minutes, wake up and listen to me. This is critical, folks. If you don't become a member today, I want you to do this exercise after the kids go to bed or sometime. Take a look at the positions in your portfolio and see if you can come up with 3 to 5 sentences immediately, not like I got to think about this, of why you're committing capital to this trade. Go. And when I do that to people on the road, hey, Wiz, I'm a trader too. Awesome. Yeah, I'm in Apple. Got this long, whatever trade on Apple. I'm like, why? I have an iPhone and an iPad. Okay, not good enough. If you can't ripple off 3 to 5 sentences as to why you're committing capital, why are you in the trade, man? More to the point, when your commit criteria, those 3 to 5 sentences, when they change 2 weeks from now, why do you stay in the trade? Because you're emotional. That's not us in fighter aviation. We have commit criteria. Why am I going to point my nose downrange at these bad guys? Well, they met this, and this criteria. Got it. And if during me going after the bad guys, the commit criteria changes, go home. Very important step. Step 4 is the tactic. And if you learn nothing from me today, which would really be professionally embarrassing, there's no such thing as an option strategy. We trade tactics. A strategy for you might be saving for college, saving for retirement, short-term income generation, buying a boat, whatever. Those are strategies, folks. An iron condor, a bull put spread that we'll do today, a covered call is a tactic. done calling them option strategies. Then we talk about, in my trade plan, the tactical employment. How are we going to put this trade on? Well, I'm going to sell these calls, buy these puts, do this, that, boom. It's the mechanics of the trade. And then step 6 and 7, hey, I've never dropped a bomb in anger or done a trade and closed my eyes and gone, oh man, I hope that hits where it's supposed to and bad guys, or I hope this trade makes money. There ain't no hope in the military, folks, and there ain't no hope in trading. We're going to be disciplined and say, hey, if this happens during the time of flight of this, I'm going to do this. We already know what we're going to do with our trade before the bad things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for me to decide what I'm going to do if I get shot at by a missile over Afghanistan ain't when I get shot at by a missile over Afghanistan. That's the time to start executing and employing those tactics. And finally, the exit plan. This is the Colin Powell step, folks. This is the, hey, Mr. President, yeah, I can get the Iraqis out of Kuwait. What's our exit plan? When do we declare victory? So what is our profit target and what is our, no kidding, eject? I'm getting out of this trade, okay? So download the PDF. You can go through it on your own leisure. All right, 30 minutes, bam. Look at that, folks. Literally, I said 30 minutes for our brief. Golf clap. There's my trading cockpit, or not trading cockpit, that's my real cockpit over, where was that? I think that's Texas, actually. Now, you guys ready to get airborne? Let's do it. Let's get some airspeed on the jet, and let's take a look at real-world stuff. And then in a little bit, you all are going to become members here at TGO, even if you just take a 2-week test flight. So let's get airborne. Quick strategic brief. Talk to you about China. It's so funny. I'm going to go right down here to a JP Morgan report that came out. So I'm going to skip my strategic brief for the sake of time. I never do this real world. This is a get to know you. But I did cover China. Nothing too much overseas. I mentioned a little Greek stuff, but let's ignore strategery for now. A little bit of spilled milk out of Goldman Sachs the other day, which cracked me up. Here's what I mean. U.S. political and economic risks are mounting against Trump's agenda, Goldman Sachs says. Well, guess what? 4 of your heavies who didn't write this report are in his administration. So just because you got the election wrong, you predicted Hillary, and you said to sell the inauguration, which I didn't. I said to buy it. Take these type of things with a grain of salt. I get so many compliments over the years where people are like, hey, Wiz, I actually get my news from you, which is, I guess that's a compliment. But the rip your face off rally we saw on Friday, not that much of a follow through until today. And I'm going to tell you what happened today and how more of these are going to happen. And you have to be cautiously bullish. On Friday, what's his first name again? Gary Kahn, damn it. Doesn't he look like Ari Fleischer, George Bush's press secretary? He does to me. But he said on Friday, hey, we're going to gut Frank and Dodd, man, and the fiduciary rule. Financials, love it. Look at this headline, folks. When I was on a train every morning from Naperville to the Board of Trade, everybody was reading the Wall Street Journal. When you see this in Wall Street Journal, Trump reforms are the stuff of banker dreams. Get bullish on the financials much, Wiz? Yeah, we did months ago. So I get, and this was yesterday, look at yesterday's headline out of Bloomberg. You know what? It seems like Obamacare, his tax stuff, Frank and Dodd do-over, it's getting diverted to the slow lane. Are you kidding me? Then look with JP Morgan overnight last night. Hey, man, we just can't stay awake in this market. Nothing's really changing in the equity market. Okay? Oh, my God, then what happened? What time was it? 1, noon, whenever? Trump says he'll announce something phenomenal on taxes in the next 3 weeks. Whoop! The U.S. dollar, the markets, the VIX imploded. And then all this other stuff, all these 500-pound heads who got everything wrong leading up to this were wrong. And again, this was one of those things why I say the market's going to keep going up. He is going to do tax reform, folks. The $250 quadrillion that Apple has overseas, they're going to be able to bring back home eventually. Hire more people, buy people, innovate. Just the tax relief to corporations alone is going to make this market go up. Let alone, folks in the financial industry, when you walk into some trading firms, there's an entire floor called the compliance department, man. Now, unfortunately, some of those people might lose their jobs. They're great people. I'm sure they can find work in some other legal or ish field. But we're going to be gutting regulation that stifles businesses. So this rally today, I completely foresaw. And so that's my strategic mindset for the trade that we're going to take a look at right now. Okay? So, this is what I wanted to tell you. If you're new to TGO and you don't take your 2-week test flight or do an annual today or something like that, at least every day I do a video, about 10, 15 minutes, and I will give you the link. It's called a sit rep. That's a military term, right? It's a market sit rep. Here's what I think is going on in the market today. So let me name an email. It's free. Not selling anything here, folks. So when you get a chance, put your name and email in there, and I'll give you my daily, instead of coming to our homepage and Wiz didn't do it yet. Sometimes they do it before market opens, lunch, close, night, whatever. So that was sitting up here. I forgot to brief you on. So here's where we are. So I'm going to look at a trade right now, and let's go through my trade plan. Step 1, my strategic mindset is cautiously bullish. Let's take a look at the history here, folks. This implosion, remember why we imploded right here in September? Fed meeting. This was a couple Fed lieutenants that couldn't agree. I think we're going to raise interest rates. I don't think we're going to. Well, quack, quack, quack. Traded sideways. We put on a lot of volatility trades. Hey, she didn't do anything. And now we don't care because we have to worry about the election. There's no way in hell, folks, she was going to raise rates in front of an election and turn that into a political football. Gary, I am not going to enter your name and email on that page. You have to do it. So there you go. Then the election. Oh my God! It will be cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria if Trump wins. They're lying to you, folks. That's exactly what I told my members this entire time. I said they're lying. The polls are wrong. Who answers the phone at 10 o'clock to talk to a pollster for half an hour? It ain't me. It's usually somebody who's unemployed or who's got a half an hour to talk to a pollster. That ain't people at work. Boom. So I am going to borrow an Obama-ism and say this is the hope and change rally. You ready? Here's the hope rally. Here's some profit taking right here. Duh. Nobody could believe this. Like, oh my God, this is nuts. All right, let's take a deep breath. So this rally's been on hope. Hope that Trump is going to do what he says he's going to do. Here's the Christmas, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, whatever the hell you celebrate, break. Here's 3 dudes trading on the floor between Christmas and New Year's. I mean, seriously, the volume was so low. I think there's 1 share trade. I mean, seriously, that was stupid. Here's the lead up to the inauguration. All the people that got this wrong said what? Sell the inauguration. I didn't. I said buy. Weekly options bull put spread, $2,000. And then right here on a Friday, when I took a look at a weekly options trade, I said, folks, do not trade weekly options over the weekend under Trump. The dude gets 4 hours of sleep and he's blasting out tweets when he's supposed to be sleeping. That's the immigration fiasco. Oh my God, he's Hitler. Enough with the Hitler. And I said, that story will be old, and it is old. I know we're waiting for the 9th Circus Court of Appeals. But finally, right here is when people woke up and said, oh my God, on Friday, we're going to gut Frankendodd. Today, he said, what are you talking about? 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to have something huge on taxes. We're going up, ladies and gentlemen, barring, and I'm not Nostradamus, barring something over here to the right. That's a black swan. That's just a missile out of the blue we couldn't see. What, Wiz? Kim Jong-un, whatever, fires a couple bottle rockets off. Could be bad. Chinese ship goes bumping tonight with one of our ships. Somebody shoots. I don't know, terrorist attack. But there's nothing macroeconomically on my radar that says it's time to go down. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hedge, folks. Look at how stupid volatility is right now. Write this down as my chart's pulling up. When vol is cheap, you buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. Volatility right now is below its resting heart rate. Oh my God, we closed with a 10 print, folks. This is nuts. Can vol go lower? Yeah. We are at the other week. This was a 10-year low in the VIX. This is the uncertainty meter, folks. You're going to tell me that the market thinks everything's peaches and cream for the next couple months and that nothing can go wrong. I know just about 500 or 200 of you at maximum capacity just went, there's no way in hell, Wiz. Something is most likely going to happen to freak out the market. You'd be a hell of a great trader here at TGO then, because you're right. I don't have time today to get long vol. Become a member and I'll show you some of our volatility trades. Because even if, or hedges, I'm gonna call them hedges. Because here's the distinction in those terms, and this is very critical. If you're trading, if you want to make money on trading the VIX or VXX, then it's called a trade. If you don't care if you lose money on a hedge because that means all your other positions are green and didn't go down, then that's called a hedge, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do both, hedge and trade volatility. But folks, write this down, stupid low on the VIX. Something's going to happen, folks. And again, Wiz, not Nostradamus. Something is going to happen to freak the market out. When? I don't know, man. The next month, 2 months? So why not put on some protection in your portfolio to maybe protect against some uncertainty, okay? So this is, it really is crazy. But that goes to my, I said I'm cautiously bullish. The cautiously part is definitely we need a hedge on. But the bullish part, I'm going to show you a trade. But before I show you a trade, how many of you made $1,700 either in a day this week or 3 days, 4 days? Let me get a show of hands. How many of you made 1,700 bucks? And my members should be chiming in right here. Why? Monday afternoon. Well, it depends on your contract. Hell yes, Chuck did, I know. Guys, if you have the drop down that says all audience, I know we still haven't figured that out yet. I want other people to see you guys saying hell yes or yeah. So my members, here's our member site. On 6th February, Monday, I sent out a weekly options bull put spread. This one right here, the 2280, 2275. I did 15 contracts. I brought in a credit of 15 cents and look at the risk to reward. My max potential loss was 5,900 bucks and my max potential profit was 1,700. I got out of this, I sent out the text alert today. Here it is at the top here. We send out text alerts, guys. Weekly update. Here's my text alert. Buy to close for a 1,675% gain in 4 days. Another very profitable weekly options trade. For folks that didn't get this initial one on Monday, you know what I did? I sent out another one, the 2285, 2280. Same type of risk, same type of reward. So there are some people who actually did both these trades because they liked them so much. That's $3,400 in profits this week, folks, on what, about 11 grand in risk. What's that, a 32% return? A 32% return for my members. This is just the weekly options portfolio. So I'm getting a lot of hell yes from my members who decided to show up. This is, I'm just showing you because men lie, numbers don't. So I wanted to get in here and show you this is an actual trade alert that I set out on Monday. We send out text alerts immediately in the live trade brief. When I'm trading live and you guys are watching me, I go right over to what's called the broadcaster and I fire the text alert and it takes about 2 seconds to hit my phone. We do texts around the world, folks. And then after the webinar is over, I follow up with an email. It takes me about, I don't know, 15 minutes to insert images and stuff and blast it out. And then about an hour later, it takes about an hour for the recording. This is recorded to render and for me to upload that. So that's kind of the steps to what we do here. So I just wanted to ask that real quick because this was sitting up here on one of my tabs. And I want to show you the trade that I put on today, but I didn't get filled. So let me show you. Well, this is the primary live trade brief portfolio. I'll go over to, or no, this is the portfolio I want to be in. I showed you the Goldman Sachs trade. That's in my primary live trade brief. I manage 4 portfolios here, folks, and you will get access to all of them or one of them in a couple minutes here, depending on what you want to do. And here's the, not that I'm God's gift to trading, folks, but I'm going to tell you that this is what your portfolio should look like on a day like today. With a triple-digit gain, a lot of greens and a red or a pink. What's the pink, Wiz? It's my hedge. If on a day like today, exactly, Fish, your screen should look a little Christmassy, right? Or Kwanzaa or winter solstice. I don't want to offend, right? This is my hedge, and I don't care if it's losing money. Well, I do. Well, you're thinking about it wrong, okay? Let me show you. I told you that slide was wrong. Here's one of my JP Morgan trades I put on 8 months ago. If you'll allow me to round up, 185 bucks. $25,000 gain in this trade in 8 months. Anybody, let me see a show of hands if you like making potentially $3 grand a month. Let's take a look at the one I put on in December, $5 grand. Now my Goldman Sachs trade is up 8,800 bucks. So, but JP Morgan's a little underperforming it. But anybody like making $5 grand in 2 months? Give me a vertical head nod and say yes. So here's the trade that I want to review that I sent out to my urgent alert members. And for my current members who are in here, you can see how I chased it, $1.25, $1.20, $1.20, and I did get filled on the urgent alert for today, okay? So let me show you what that trade is to my folks that are going to be members. And I'll show you well, you know what, let me walk through it. I'll do it. I'll show you on the member page eventually. Let me do this at the $1.25. I'm gonna copy this trade, and let me save it so I can come back to it. Here's the trade, folks, that I want to show you today. I gave you my strategic mindset. So step one, cautiously bullish. The Trump, I can't believe. I mean, literally today, I'm like, I saw the market pop. I turned around. I'm like, what did he say? He can say negative, folks. That weekend immigration ban that surprised everybody, the futures and everything imploded Monday, right? But hopefully going forward, he's recognized that he can move markets pretty much to the downside, but the guy's magic to the upside, man. So he said, quote unquote, that in 2 to 3 weeks, and my lines are up here from the video I did today, that I got huge news on tax reform. It's coming. He might be over ski tips. He might be, you know, a little bit, but it's going to be something, right? I don't think the market's going to implode on it. So look at this 2290 level, okay? I like this. So last week, big, nice pop through 2290. Beginning of the week, we had, of course, the weekend. Oh my God, the world could end. No, man, it's not. You know, get over it. Good earnings on a Wednesday, some good stuff out of Trump. And then I got big news in 3 weeks. I like this 2290 level, but to give me a little bit of cushion, I'm looking at the 2285. I think by 3 weeks from now, which was what? I think I picked March 3rd expiration. Yep, March 3rd, right there, that the S&P 500 is going to be trading above 2285. Now, for some of you, before you even type your question that says, why aren't you trading SPY? Don't trade SPY. I'm going to save you, if you're an active trader, thousands of dollars with these next couple sentences. And either send me a bottle of Opus One or Camus, the 40th anniversary edition. Do not trade SPY ever again in your life. It's an ETF. I trade SPX. It's the actual index. For all the attorneys in the audience, let me say this. I'm not your tax attorney and I'm not an accountant. However, I will tell you, as Joe Citizen, the fellow Joe Citizen, there is different tax treatment between trading an ETF and trading the index. Everybody give me a and Google it after the webinar and thank me later. Don't trade SPY. I just saved you. Now you're going to buy an annual membership because I just saved you essentially that in taxes. Potentially, counselors. So here we go. Love the 2285 level. So step 2, the tactic, I'm trading SPX, not SPY. Step 4, commit criteria. I kind of gave it to you just now, but Trump came out today and said in 2 to 3 weeks he's got huge news on tax reform. I'm an S-Corp, folks. Little old me, flow through, small businesses. This is going to be awesome. Even if, I'm not telling you what my tax rate is, but let's say it's 50%. He drops it in half. That goes to the bottom line, folks. Now I'm drinking a venti from Black Rifle Coffee and not Starbucks. This is big. Now, during the life of this trade, 3 weeks is a long time, folks. In my commit criteria, I always look at potential bad too. During the flight time of this trade, I fully expect that we might see a little bit of a pullback. Another, drunken tweet at 2 a.m. or this or that. I'm telling you though, by the time he makes this announcement, I think we get another rip your face off rally. Okay? There's my commit criteria. The tactic, step 4, that I want to employ is called a bull put spread. Okay? I'm bullish. I'm using puts, and it's a spread. It's not rocket surgery. Some of you know it as what? A credit spread. Don't worry about the whole, oh my God, something's got 50 names type of thing. I call it what the tactic is, okay? Like I'm bullish, I'm using puts, and it's a spread. So let me take a look at the trade that I sent out hours ago to my traders. Can I edit this? No. Let me just build it in the damn options chain. Let's go out. And folks, I use Options House. You can use whoever you want to. I'm a little biased because I helped build Options House when it was my sister company at the Options News Network. It originally, look at the transition here. It's still Trade Monster up here. John and Pete Najarian. If you watch CNBC, which I call Comedy Central, the big football player guys, buddies of mine from Chicago, they built Trade Monster. Options House, which I helped build, ate Trade Monster. And you know who just ate Options House? The little asterisk in the middle is what? E-Trade. So there's a lot of consolidation in the industry here. All right, so I have my March 3rd strike selected, and please don't laugh at these. But I'm going to look at the 2285, 2280. I'm going to click on New Spread. And this is what's cool about Options House is it's got all the common tactics that one could trade. I'm just going to click on a vertical spread. And here's what I'm going to do. It was this one. I think it was. Yep. Add edit legs. Sell by. Just hold on a second. I'll talk through it. I'm going to do 15 contracts. Now, before you even put it in the chat box and you say, Wiz, why are you trading 15 contracts? Give me 2 minutes. But the immediate answer is risk. The number of contracts determines how much risk I have in my trade. So here's the trade, folks. I'm going to sell 15 of the March 3rd 2285 puts. That gives us enough leash to get this Trump, whatever the hell the announcement's going to be, announced. If he announces it in 2 weeks and the market pops, we get out of it. And this $5, I told you I like the 2290 level. It looks like it was kind of support and resistance, and then we had a rocket up here. I like 2290, but why not take the $5 a cushion? Wiz, what if you're completely wrong, man? Things go bump in the night, market implodes. Well, it's going to suck, but guess what? We're going to live to fight another day because we're buying 15 of the same expiration 2280 puts. World goes to hell in a handbasket. It'll suck. We might lose some money on the trade, but we're hedged. Okay, this is a bull put spread known as a credit spread. Okay, so in a live trade brief, I would take a screenshot of this right now, which I did, and I'll show you on the member page where I posted it. But I'm going to click create order, and I'm going to go mid-market. Folks, I'm one to talk, right? I couldn't get in those Goldman Sachs trades for 3 months because I was getting greedy, fighting market makers, and I have members that are up $135,000 in one trade. Not jealous at all. But I go mid-market, folks. And when I send out an alert or I do a live trade brief like this, I give you a range. I sent out an alert today that said, hey guys, gals, I'm going to look to get filled on this trade plus or minus 10 cents. Meaning I'd be willing to go up to a credit of $1.30 and I'd be willing to go down to a credit of $1.10. Outside of that, it's either the risk to reward ain't for me, or if it's up here, somebody's like, hey Wiz, what's a $1.40 credit? That's more money. Well, that also means the market's pulling back. Why don't we take a look at, first of all, why it's pulling back? We might not want to do the trade now, or we might want to roll it down a couple, $5, the 2280, 2275, okay? So I send out a range as well. Now I'm going to click preview, I'm going to click analyze, and this is going to be an ugly visual for a lot of you. Picture me as a Catholic nun. I know that's tough. And I got a ruler. I should have a ruler. I'm going to crack your knuckles if you don't do what I tell you to do right now. You ready? When I click this analyze button, you're going to look at one place and one place only. You ready? The sad face. Of course, a Catholic nun would tell you to look at the sad face. Here it is. Max loss. Any knuckle cracking? Why did I do that? Folks, an F-18 pilot, a professional options trader, people who deal with risk, doctors, they look at what could possibly go wrong. What is the max potential loss in this mission or in this trade? And if I'm not okay with it, either don't do it or change something. In this case, I told you I have an SOP at Top Gun Options. I don't want to risk more than $5,000. Let me say it this way. I don't want to risk more than 5% of my model portfolio based on 100 grand on any one trade. Okay, Wiz, why? 5%. That's me. After 26 years, a quarter of a century of doing this, I don't want to lose more than 5% of my 100 grand. You could be 2.5%. You could be percent. I know some traders are 15, 20% of their model portfolio. They got to fly and fight their own jet, man. Can't give financial advice, but that raises my eyebrows. This is a little north of 5 grand. I'm okay with it. So now, but if you're sitting there going, well, man, I'm out. I don't want to risk $5,700. Then don't. I told you 2 minutes ago exactly that the $5,700 is based on what? 15 contracts. Well, I don't want to risk more than $2,500, Wiz. Then trade 8. I can't tell you what to do. You're getting to eavesdrop on what I'm doing, okay? Now, and only now, can we look at what? Mr. Happy, max profit, $1,800 with at-the-money volatility predicting a 73% chance of getting the full 18. It's a pretty high probability trade, folks. And look at this. Down here, the break-even, Mr. 74% probability of at least making some scratch. If you'll allow me a percent, 75%. Why? Because if you think about it in those terms, you say 3 out of 4 times, Wiz, this trade makes me $1,800. Yeah. I'll take the walk into Vegas and try and get 3 out of 4 odds, folks. Casinos don't look the way they do because they're charities and they have 3 to 4 odds. I don't gamble, man. This isn't gambling. This is good, okay? So this is the trade that I sent out to my traders today. Let me click preview. So during a live trade brief, I would do this. I'd highlight it, I click copy, and then I go over to a broadcaster and I fire it right out. Because some of you, in our last customer survey, 80% of our TGO traders work. I'll show you a slide where one of my guys is like, hey man, great to be here. I've known you through replays for 3 years. So you don't have to be here live. Wiz, I work during your weekly options live trade brief. It doesn't matter. You're going to be sitting there in death by meeting at work going, okay, boss, that sounds, oh, there's a weekly options trade. Folks, I can run my company from here. I have my options house things on here. I have my broadcaster. If I got a text alert from me or Doug, sometimes I do get text alerts from Doug. I'm like, that one looks good. It's all right here. And I could be sitting at my kid's hockey game. Yeah, I live in Florida and my kids play hockey. So let me talk about 2 points as part of my trade plan, you know, the mid-course guidance and the eject. I want all of this credit. You see this $1.20 right here? Let me go back to edit. Let's take a look at the Greeks. And I don't want your eyes to glaze over like, ah, crap, here he goes with the Greeks, typical options trader. I barely look at the Greeks, folks. I just know that in a credit spread, I'm the Fort Lauderdale Ferrari dealer. I'm going to drive by him tonight here in a little bit. I always think of it and use this analogy. I know when some guy in his midlife crisis, like me, goes in there and says, give me the 250 grand Ferrari. Soon as he peels out having his midlife crisis, what happens? That dealer gets what? Time decay. The buyer with his midlife crisis gets what? Time decay. Who likes the time decay? The dealer. Look down here under theta. That's the Greek for options trading. That's time decay. Keep an eye down there as I go forward in time. Every day that goes by, we make money on theta. I love this saying. Unched on the day equals time decay. What's unched mean? Unchanged. Meaning if the S&P, like it has been lately, just kind of wallows around and is unched, unchanged on the day, we get time decay. Unched on the day equals time decay. That's why I like to be a seller of options. Okay? So that's about all you're going to hear about out of Greeks here. What about the dude with the midlife crisis? Phone call from his significant other. Midlife crisis is over, dude. Turn that thing in. Does a U-turn, comes back to the dealer. Peels in the dealer's like walking back counting his cash to the office, and the guy's like, hey man, can you buy this thing back? Dealer's going to go, of course I can. I'll hook you up. 200 grand. It was 250. Yeah, it's called time decay. All right. So I want all of this $1.20, man, in my pocket. If I don't get that, if it's starting to go up in value to $1.70, $1.90, the market's going it down. So for some reason, my put spread's in a little bit of a, in my alerts, I put in 2 points, 2 price points in a trade. One is I take off my oxygen mask in my F-18 and go, all right, I'm smelling a little bit of smoke in the cockpit. My feet are getting warm. And my wingman says, hey, Wiz, you got some smoke coming out of your right engine. Something might be wrong with the trade. I call that my adjust point. And in this, I think I sent out to my traders was $2 or $2.10, something around there. It's about 75% of the credit that I took in. Okay, so about $2.10. Now for the eject point. I just double the credit that I take in. If this trade, God forbid, you come back from your run, you look at your SPX bull put spread you on, and it's up here at 240. Double the credit you took in. That means literally not only is there smoke in the cockpit, there's fire. Your wingman screaming, eject, you're on fire. That's not the time to go, let me try and save this trade or get emotional about it. I mean, in the Navy, if you do that and you save the jet, you might get a medal. 99% of the time you don't, and they pull the wings off your chest. Don't do it. Do I, as a portfolio manager, sometimes fly past the eject point? Yeah, because I am so certain of my commit criteria and my strategic mindset. And I got about a 60% hit rate on flying past my eject of being profitable. Okay, but I will tell you that, folks, in a text alert. I'm like, hey, man, it's at the eject point. I got my cigar, my scarf out of the cockpit. Here's why I'm staying, okay? So I will let you know. So there's the 2 points in a trade that I call adjust and eject, okay? If I went through this fast, you're going to get a replay. If I went through this fast, we do about an hour and a half to 2 hour live trading session. So hopefully I didn't go through it fast, and you're shaking your head like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And let me show you, just so I'm not full of it, that was the urgent alert for today. So just here's what I do. 9 February, urgent alert, SPX bull put spread, and our portfolio adjustment. So I have existing positions in the urgent alert portfolio that I had to update, right? Let's take a look at Disney. Disney. Trades up. Actually, I have protective puts on this, so I'm not gonna show. I got to group these together. Love Disney. This trade was losing money for a little while, and take a look at a chart of Disney, man. Love this trade. This trade's up. What's the year-to-date gain? $4,300. 11%. Here's FXI, some China trades, up 1,500, and this one's up 4,200. This is synthetic stock. I showed you the disgusting JP Morgan's, up 25 grand in 8 months and 5 grand in 2. And then the VXX trade, I don't care about it. It's down $2,600. I don't care. That's I sleep better at night, because if I do wake up tomorrow and Trump accidentally tweets, like Reagan said on a hot mic one time, like, the bombers are airborne, they'll be over us in 15 minutes. If we get a random tweet where volatility spikes through the roof, these are all going to get kicked in the gut. But guess what? They're long-term positions. They're Jan 19. A lot of these are January 19 positions, folks. So what I do is I hedge the front months, and I trade like I just did. I have a bull put spread on the front months, but I mainly like trading the back months because that gives me time, man. Even after the 2008 financial crisis, what happened? Everybody thought it was it. The world's ending. My God, if you had invested on the lows around that, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. I'd be working at your hedge fund. So know that we have time trading the Jan 18, Jan 19 trades for them to come back. But why not have a front month hedge on? Okay? Man, I went over 4 minutes. But here's what I want to do, folks, is I want to actually show you, let me get all this crap, whatever. I want to introduce, because I know some of you, a lot of you said that, hey man, this is either my first or I've kind of heard. I will let you know that if you're familiar with our Full Throttle program, the first training session was last night with Doug. It's recorded. It's up on our member site. We had 2 people out of 50 drop out. One was for medical reasons. Steve's going to be all right. He's coming back. And one was a military buddy who, hey, was, out in Kandahar, I'm not going to be trading. Got it. So we have 2 annual slots that are open for membership. But the reason I wanted to do, and I'll show you the annual membership page if you want to grab one now. This one, the reason I wanted to do this brief was we got a lot of tire kickers. Some people did that Full Throttle week a couple weeks ago and said, hey man, can I do like a 2-week test flight? I really don't like doing that, to be honest with you. Just because it speaks for itself, okay? I'm not a tire kicker guy. If I'm not a half pregnant guy. If I believe in something, left hand, full forward, max afterburner. Let's do this. I'm not a half pregnant, but I get that a lot of people in the financial training space have to dip their toe in the water. So this webinar is for you, and I'm going to show you a potential 2-week test flight you could take for the price of a bottle of Pinot Grigio in the fridge here. So 2 choices you have today. You could do an annual membership, which is obviously cost effective. It's a hell of a lot cheaper for both of us to do an annual. No credit cards, all that stuff. Or you can do maybe a monthly membership. But the tire kickers, if you're here going, hey man, I don't even know who you are, but I liked the hour I was spent with you, then hang out for 5 more minutes and I'm going to tell you where to go get your test flight. Here's what I do here. I trade weekly options in a session at 1 o'clock on Mondays. Every Tuesday morning at 10, I do the primary live trade brief with, I trade the front months and the back months and hedge, kind of like I just told you. AR, Accelerated Retirement, is on Wednesday, a little bit more conservative portfolio. And then I do the urgent alerts, which I just showed you, the urgent alert portfolio, and I gave you a free SPX trade. Here's what Doug does. I know you didn't get a chance to meet Doug, but he does the advanced live trade brief every Thursday, and he sends out advanced trade alerts. He also teaches the Full Throttle training program that just got airborne for 4 weeks, every Tuesday and Thursday night, tonight actually, at 7 o'clock Eastern. That's only for annual memberships, folks. I'm sorry. So if you're a tire kicker, it's just not even totally cost effective to give you access to that. No offense. So if you're an aggressive type of trader and you're like, yeah, I like this stuff, we got a track for you, I call it. If you're conservative, I got another track. And obviously, if you want both, Wiz, I want everything you guys do here at TGO. We got it. So here's what I want to do. The offensive track is everything we do here at TGO except accelerated retirement. If you're like, I love everything, but weekly options kind of creep me out, we'll give you the defensive track. But the offensive track has weekly options, okay? And the defensive track has, instead of weekly options, accelerated retirement. We just swapped those 2 services out. Down the road, if you're like, hey man, I've been in the defensive track for a while. I like weekly. Let me step up the weekly options. We can hook you up, okay? And here's the one thing we do, max afterburner. All of our services. There's a screenshot recently. Hey Wiz, the SPX bear call spread, $2,100. Got out of the call credit spread for $975 in a day. The Oracle of options, and $1,100 profit in a day. Wiz, thanks. So folks, I've just showed you with several of the trades I did this week and recently that with the Goldman Sachs trade being up $8,000 or $9,000 in 2 months, I've paid for essentially years of this service. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me just go to the page. And actually, you know what? Let me keep this one up for a second because I told you 80% of y'all work. I get it. Look at Chris. I'm so geeked. Been a subscriber for almost 3 years now, and this is the first time I've been able to attend live. I only know you from the replays. So don't feel bad if you can't attend live, okay? And folks, I'll get to your questions here in a couple minutes. I know there's a lot to me just on the to the organizer, and I'll get to those because people are wanting to know how to grab their test flight, and a couple people are like, I want the annual. It's going to be a food fight for the annual, folks, so only 2, and we don't mess around. Here's the exact reason why. We have room limits. We hit our room limit on go-to training, so we only allow 50 people in the Full Throttle program at a time. So when I put the Full Throttle page up, it's going to be a food fight. Once you join an annual membership, you'll get all our proprietary materials, our primary, intermediate, advanced workbook, and you're also going to get, well, you got the options pocket checklist when you opted in, okay? So let's get airborne. Let me show you. If you are interested in an annual membership, here's where you need to go. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. That's get full throttle, if you didn't figure that out. So let me copy that and I'll put it in the chat box. If you're a tire kicker, stand by. I know some of you are like, I need the trial link. 1 second. Man, you guys are, and if you can, guys, if you have the drop down that says entire audience, yeah, I appreciate you guys chatting with me, but chat with one of the reasons I put us in the go to training room was so you guys could see each other's chat. The marketing people said, it would be better that it's more interactive than be interactive with each other. So here is the annual subscription page, okay? The defensive track is right there, the offensive track in the middle, and then the max afterburner, okay? It's $19.95 for a year defensive, $24.95 offensive, and the max afterburner is $29.95. And then right underneath there is the monthly subscriptions. If you're ready now, Wiz, I don't need a 2-week trial. Things look good for me. There's the monthly subscriptions, okay? Everybody good? All right. Now, for the other folks, okay, who are the tire kickers, let me go to and actually this is going to be the replay page. You know what? I'll send this out to you in a replay. I don't want to give you links all over the place. When I'm done with this, I'm going to upload this video onto this replay page, okay? And this is where you can also get your 14-day test flight. The quickest way to get your 14-day test flight is this. And let me say something for the stupid people in the room, and I have to say it like that. People take a 14-day trial. I'll show you the prices. It's stupid. If you're a skier, go to the homepage and you'll be home. Beginner is that accelerated retirement portfolio. Intermediate is the primary, and let me click on it, and the urgent alert service, okay? And this is 28 bucks, folks. The price of a really bad bottle of wine for 2 weeks, okay? It's right there. Let me put this in here. If you want to do, there's the annual link. If you want to do weekly options, let me go back, go to the Black Diamond. It's not that weekly options are, I'm skiing down Mount Everest. It's just that, that they're a little quicker. It's not that you need to be advanced and Wiz, I only know how to trade spreads or something. I don't know how to do it straddles or strangles. Let me give you a little bit of a hint. I don't either. That's why I don't trade them. I know what they are. My point being is beginner, intermediate, advanced. So for all the tire kickers today, and okay, good. Well, whoever is getting the annual ones, see, these are the people who 3 weeks ago waited, and when we got filled with 50, went to Annie in customer support and said, no, come on, really, you guys really, you guys take as many people as you can. And Annie said, no, we only take 50 because I can't have a zoo in the trading briefs, folks. We can't have, in the full throttle launch 3 weeks ago, we had 3,200 people registered. In one of the live trade briefs, I had like 1,100 people, man. Imagine I was a flight instructor in the Hornet, and obviously I'm an instructor in options. Imagine me, I need to take a clonazepam because I'm like, I have to answer everybody's questions. That's me. That's the instructor in me going, I have to help people. I can't if there's 1,100 people. It's like sitting in a USC political science 101 thing where the professor's in a gym with 1,000 students and there's people in another, we can't. So it's limited. So if you want an annual membership, there's 2 of them. And based on the comments that are save me one, I can't save you one. For whoever just said that, I'm not typing in your credit card. If you want to call Annie and say, grab me one right now and order by phone, I don't know why you need to. When the 2 go, they go, folks. This is Annie Santos. She's our beautiful and vivacious Brazilian customer support, our client advisor who helps people out. Her number is 754-300-1084. Or you can email her support at topgunoptions.com, okay? But you can buy it right here. And for the people who do the annual or the monthly subscription, you will get access to Doug Robertson's. This is the session he did Tuesday night, session 1. It's recorded. You'll get access to it. And then now you get the rest of the sessions as well. This is $495 in training right here, folks. That is part of your full throttle package, okay? But let me go back to the folks who are the tire kickers, and I'm not saying that as a pejorative because I get it, man. You know, after an hour and 44 minutes, you still might be, I don't know, man. But I'm going to tell you this, and I don't mean it to be a poke in the chest. If you can't see that spending $28 on something that when we price it out for the next 2 weeks is worth $375, don't sign up. I'm not kidding, because you're probably not that good of a trader, and you're going to learn my personality. I'm very direct. In a fighter squadron, we don't have time for, you know, respectful truth over artificial harmony. If you can't say, hey man, $28 Pinot Grigio at Costco, Santa Margarita is like $18. This is Santa Margarita out tonight at a restaurant. If you can't see that for a bottle of wine for 2 weeks, you should at least take a test flight, and you hesitated, don't do it, because we're not going to get along, okay? So let me answer some questions. Let me scroll up here and pop out the chat box here. Get your questions in here, folks. Welcome aboard. Ryan, name of the SEAL guy that passed away last week. Damn. Nina, does this include the live training room? Nina, this is 90% live training. Let me show you this slide, Nina. You ready? Let me go through these. Live, video. I did the video today. 3 lives out of me a week. Doug, live, and a video or an email alert. So there's 4 live trade briefs a week, Nina, okay? So if you do the annual or monthly subscription in the Full Throttle, it depends on what you do, okay? If you do the test flight, you're only going to get a couple of them, okay? So that's why I strongly recommend that you get into these, okay? These tracks, and you'll see what you get. Defensive is just about everything, but you get accelerated retirement. The offensive track is like, you know what? I don't need retirement stuff. I'm doing the weekly options. And then the best value is obviously Max Afterburner. You get everything we do here, okay? So you can either do an annual subscription, Nina, or a monthly, and get just about everything we do, okay? Now for the tire kickers, you go to our homepage and you can get access to one of those services or a couple of them. You just got to click on the on which one you want to drive around, okay? But obviously, folks, I strongly recommend you do the Full Throttle stuff because you get access to a hell of a lot more. But maybe you do the 2-week test flight, and at the end of it, you give Annie a call and say, hey, man, load me up, okay? All right, let me scroll up. Are the intermediate and advanced services all for email alerts? Is there a live trading room? What is your time zone? Eastern. P. Christopher, sir. I just went through this with Nina. Live Monday, live Tuesday, live Wednesday, video or email. Doug, live Thursday, video and email. So there is 4 live trade briefs, folks, okay? You get text alerts when we place a trade. You get text alerts when we close a trade. Okay, so this is all live trading, folks. I kind of did a live trade brief, but the market wasn't open. If the market was open, I would have placed that trade live. So yeah, guys, maybe I'm doing a crappy job of presenting today, but I thought I made that blindingly clear. Nina, sounds great. I'm drawn to your style of trading each time I see you. Nina, then you need to get aboard, man. Good. P, when you trade leap calls, how do you pick the strike level or strike price as Goldman Sachs? Can you give an example? I'm going to give an example, and then I'm going to split because that's giving away a little bit of my secret sauce, but let me answer. Here's what I do. Here's some of my secret sauce. When you join, I'm going to show you how to add a new JP Morgan trade, and I'm going to say it pretty quick, So you have to join to actually learn how to do it. I fly out as far in time as I can on JP Morgan to Jan 19. Why? I want as much time for the trade to work. Duh. I'm going to collapse the puts so I can just look at calls because I wanted to uncover delta. So I'm going to go down to Jan 19 and find the calls that are closest to a 0.8 delta. Why? You're going to have to sign up. They're not 1 delta calls, which are very expensive. They're not 0.5 delta calls, which are cheap. I thread the needle, and I'd probably buy the, what are those, the 67.5s. And then I'd put a disaster put underneath it, 20% below the stock price. It reduces my haircut, my margin on the trade, and it protects me. And then we're going to sell front month upside calls to bring in premium. You got it? Okay, good. Sign up, and I will show you how I do a long call diagonal with a protective put and synthetic stock. Okay? I subscribed advanced trial service on 2/7 for 2 weeks. When will be the live service? Well, VJ, the live service was today. It was Thursday. So what you need to do, VJ, is go on the member page, member content, and you should go under advanced live trade briefs or advanced trade alerts. When you go under the advanced live trade briefs, you can watch Doug's replay. So here it is. ALTB, Advanced Live Trade Brief, session replay for trades for 9 February. So get in here and watch the replay if you missed his live brief, okay? And welcome aboard for your 2-week test flight. VJ. Does the advanced package give you access to everything except AR? No. Rick, if you're a tire kicker and you're just looking to take a test flight, it's getting you into one of, maybe 2 of the services. Folks, what's the difference between the packages? I don't want to sit here and waste your time. Click on them. The intermediate includes the primary live trade brief every Tuesday morning. Everything's written in here, folks. Everything's described on every page, okay? I don't want to burn daylight on you here, but and I show you the returns for those. You get the primary live trade brief, you get urgent alerts, you get your manuals, and it's $28. What's the advanced trial? I think it's $38, and you get access to, survey said, $38 for 2 weeks. You get the primary live trade brief, but you get weekly options instead of that urgent alert package. So you can kind of, and then the beginner one was that accelerated retirement, okay? And I think it's $14, okay? So you can kind of see the method to our madness, right? Skill-based, all right? So there you go. Go on the homepage, topgunoptions.com, and then scroll down. Hey, what type of trader are you? And then grab your trial. 2 of you who were quick enough will grab or have grabbed, since my phone is buzzing and that tells me that people are grabbing slots, either grabbed an annual, which is a great discount. These are usually 5, 7, and 9 grand. And we ran a full throttle promo. If you just look under the blue buttons for the annuals, you can get a monthly subscription down here. Okay? All right, folks, only a couple more minutes, couple more questions because I want to get this replay out to you. What is the difference between intermediate and advanced services? I just answered that. Click on the tabs there, okay? Good. Awesome. The number, the only reason to call Annie really would be to, I'm pretty sure I've answered everybody's questions, but her number is 754-300-1084, or if you'd rather email a question, which I prefer because I can hear in my back office the phone ringing already, which means Annie's busy at work. So people might be trying to grab those 2 annual full throttle slots. So yeah, and that we might be done with the annual. So if you want an annual, I would grab Annie real quick. If you want a monthly, you can do it on the page here. And then again, the tire kickers, just go to the home page. Go to topgunoptions.com and scroll down. Okay? And finally, before I let you go, I will get this replay. It takes, I don't know, I'm going to go, get a glass of water, see if it's raining outside, and then I'm going to upload the replay onto this page, and I'll shoot an email out to you so you can watch this again. And on this replay page will be the green buttons I just showed you, the same thing. Start your 14 test flight today. All right? Let me read a couple more things and then we'll be good to go. This is where the replay will be. It's not up here yet, guys, so don't click on it and go, the replay ain't up here. Then I definitely don't want you to become a member. Becky, you remind me of something said in the movie Top Gun. I've heard you say the movie does not portray a real picture of your Navy Top Gun experience. It doesn't. But in the part where they are all up in their training, Jester and Viper, Jester says, damn, this kid's good. That's you, Wiz. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. It's funny you say that because, Becky, I went to Top Gun and I was Jester. As you saw in my bio slide, I was an adversary pilot. I was the bad. We painted our jets like MiGs and we flew bad guy tactics. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's funny. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you for that. All right, guys, I got to go, man. We all got families. We got everything to do here. I think I got a hockey game maybe to go to tonight or something like that. But welcome aboard Top Gun Options. Even if you, I don't know why you can't pry open. If this is your last 14, 28, or $38, don't sign up, man. Please, for the love of God, don't. But if you're like, yeah, this sounds pretty good, kick the tires, man. It's seriously, it's a bottle of wine, which I'm going to crack because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and give us a test shot. Some of you who didn't get in your full throttle when we did a lot of you don't know what the hell is he talking about, full throttle. 3 weeks ago, I opened the squadron for an entire week of trading. You got access, or maybe you didn't since you're just checking me out now. We opened the entire week. It was open all week. You could come and go. People were stunned. We got 50 slots immediately, man. And they went like hotcakes. Most of them were the max packages too. But as I said at the beginning, over the past couple of weeks, somebody, one of our members became ill, and one dude, hey Wiz, a fellow brother, got shipped off to Afghanistan, God bless him. So I put his membership on hold. So we do have 2 annual slots, and if you want to grab it, grab it. Would be nice to see people's names also instead of a number. Work on that problem. Thanks. Great class as always. Thanks, Fish. You got it, man. All right. On that note, I'm going to end 4 minutes early. Welcome aboard to all the tire kickers. You're going to have a great 2 weeks, especially with this SPX trade on, seeing if Trump actually does something over the next 2 weeks. And welcome aboard if you grab one of the annual slots that you will get access to Doug's training and all the good stuff. For the folks who grab that annual slot, you're very, very smart, okay? Because we're not doing another full throttle until beginning of April. All right, I got to run, folks. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. Don't forget to sign up for my daily sit rep, even if you thought this was awful. My daily sit reps are pretty damn good. So just name an email. It's free, and you can get my daily market commentary. Okay, I'll paste that in there, and then I'm out of here. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless, and welcome aboard to all of our new Top Gun Options members. We'll see you.